I gotta say, this past Wednesday was really shocking. I never would have thought in a million years that the video I did, I guess that stream would get as much traction as it did. I was really shocked. Um, because I actually like to keep. I don't want to say like I don't have a physical record book, but I know for a fact because I'm the only one that's been to all of my streams that the highest viewed one ever before Wednesday was in either 2018 or 2019, where I had 20 people watch. And like ever since then, it's usually about, 10, 12, 14, some number like that. So to do one and then get that number multiplied 7 times over, without doing anything special, I didn't share it all over the place. I just did as I would normally do, and it got much more attention. So that was nice. And then we had a whole bunch of people subscribe, which I am not excited about because I know one of the patterns of this terrible website is that people like to press a button and then vanish when you actually make something. Like, as in, if you look at a lot of the bigger channels, they have loads of subs, but if you aggregate the amount of views they get, it's like less than, I'd say, 10% of the people that are sub to them actually watching. So, how are you doing, Phoenix Chills? I haven't seen you before. No, Wednesday was really crazy because, again, it's just there's not something I'm used to having that many people on a stream. It was I was like that number just kept getting bigger and bigger. I was like, what in the world? And Door still hasn't responded to any of that stuff. I think Glenn might have, but I'm not sure. I know that Door was on somebody else's thing when he responded, but an actual like video on his channel just debunking the stuff he hasn't done yet. And yesterday they were going after secular talk because this lady put up some screenshot of some account on Instagram that has the same username as him, asking her for naked pictures. And um, the reason a lot of people believed it, to their credit, was because the Young Turks took this Instagram account and linked it as Secular Talk's actual Instagram account. So people weren't just seeing a username and going, oh, it's the same username, so it must be the same person. But they were looking at the fact that reputable sources, and when I say that, I mean people who actually know that person, were confirming that that was him. Yeah, I came pretty close to doing a video, but I wanted to hold off a little bit because I want to wait for him to respond to it and just see what would happen. That's one thing I like about the edited videos, because they take a little bit longer to make. You get kind of like a little period to sort of, I guess, give yourself a pre-warning, like, hey, before we get on this person, let's see if it's actually true that they're this disgusting individual who asks random chicks for naked photos. Yeah, Wednesday was really insane. And it does go back to like how I have these biases when people are like, oh, this is your channel will get bigger if you do this. Like, well, when I have a video that I can attribute the names of the people in the title for why it got more views, I'm not really convinced you need to buy a set and all the rest of this extravagant stuff. Because I have seen that with some people who try to offer their unsolicited advice. It's like, you guys seem to not understand that I live in the real world where I can't do certain things just because somebody thinks it would be a good idea. Like going and getting a different background just so that these hypothetical people will watch me is not, I'm good. No, unsolicited advice is the worst kind of advice because nobody asked for it. And a lot of times, it just feels like really simplistic. Like, oh, just get thumbnails and you'll have more views. That's what really turned me off to that stuff because I did feel like a hamster on the wheel for a long time, where you just do a video and then you have some impassioned case for why you believe whatever you're talking about, and then it gets the same number of views. Um, it's really funny to watch people come on here and do the snake oil salesman stuff. If you do this, more people will watch. I even had one guy, and I'll never forget this. It was back in, I think, 2015, 2016, when I first like started regularly making stuff again. There was a guy who said, maybe you can't get more subscribers because the topics aren't interesting. And I'm like, I guess maybe he's never heard of, like, all the major news channels have millions of subscribers. Like Fox News has like what, 2, 3 million subscribers. The Young Turds has what, 5 million, 4 million. You know, so when I see something like that, I'm not really convinced. Basically, if there's a topic that you like, and you want to talk about as just like your main thing, whether it's politics, sport, some sport, whatever, you can always find people who have very large channels that discuss it. Like, don't let anybody on here convince you that a topic is too minor for people to pay attention to, because you can, if you look hard enough, you can find somebody that has a big channel that discusses that same thing. So that's why advice like that is really goofy to me. Yes, this topic is so disinteresting that you have millions of people subscribe to channels that only talk about that topic. I hope my usual band of characters decides to pop up today, because I only saw about two of them on that last stream. And I didn't even really get to address what, because I know Vince showed up on there, and he's not even a regular. He's like a semi-regular person. And he made some comment, and I only got to read a little bit of it because when the thing is moving so fast, you can't respond to each one. So we'll see. Oh, man. Hello from Italy. How have you been doing there? I mean, I guess all right. I had this script I was trying to write where I had some writer's block. And the worst thing about that is sometimes I try to write a second one of the same like subject, but then try to like approach it from a different angle and then integrate what I wrote before into it. That's the one good thing about like typing stuff on the computer. You can just go to different tabs. And even though I did that and I had a premise I thought was much better, I still couldn't connect all of it that way. So I'll try to take another crack at it probably tomorrow. Cold or hot? Every time you show up, you write something bizarre. That's your hallmark. Like if I see some comment that just leaves me bewildered, like I can figure out who it is. They always bring up something that has nothing to do with anything. It's very weird. I don't get it. You did on some other stream too, where like you came all the way at the end and were like, I disagree. And I was like, what do you disagree with? And then you didn't respond. Doing that drive-by typing. Where people show up to a video and they say something that's like designed to get attention, and then when people respond to it, they don't say anything else back because they're not actually trying to have a conversation. They just want to like cause a reaction and get their jollies that way. That's what you did on that last stream you were on. Came all the way at the end, and I asked, "What are you talking about?" And you don't say anything back. That's drive-by typing. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show you what Dudley likes to do. This is him. He comes to your stream, he types up something weird, you ask for clarification. I mean, all the recurring villains do that, so I'm not even. I guess that's not really something unique to him, but like some of them will either stay and antagonize you or they'll write something weird. No, that's his favorite pastime. Well, you need a better job if that's the position you've assigned yourself. Yeah, where are the regular characters? They always do this when they do the antagonism. It's like, where are the actual people that don't write insane stuff? when are they going to show up? Like, we had two of them, and then now we're stuck with Dudley. It's not even mean, though. Why does it make me a villain? Because it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. If I'm trying to engage in a conversation about a topic, and then somebody brings up something random that is designed to distract from the points I'm making, I don't really see a point in liking what that person is doing. And you guys never do this stuff in real life. Like, if I go to Starbucks and I'm talking to somebody about the economy, I'm not going to have a random person go up and scream, "Oh, do you like ice cream?" It's only on streams where they do that. Just wait till later in the stream. Yeah, they do like to show up about 20 or 30 minutes late. That's why I always tell people to hit the like button, because that boosts the chances that they'll see it. You know, people act like pressing the button costs $10 or something. I saw this one guy, he made his whole chat subscriber exclusive, so you have to be subscribed to him to actually talk. And it was funny because he was sitting there and people were like, this is a censorship. I'm like, all you have to do is click a button. Like, I would never do that, because I'm not I have people subscribe to me that annoy me just as much as people that aren't subscribed. It's like, all they have to do is click a button for free and they get to talk in his thing, and that's censorship. Imagine if someone told you that, like, you were being kicked out of like, let's say, a party where everybody that wants to go to the party has a key, and they just have to bring the key to get in free, and then all the food in there is free, everything is available, then they just have to have this key to get in. He's like, they won't let me have any fun. It's like, all you have to do is bring the key, this free key. Now, if you put any restriction whatsoever on who can say what, they always do the anti-free speech thing. I'll not pronounce the first part of your name, Zip. That's Juice with an X. Now, people always come with some name I don't know how to pronounce, and I'm always worried they're gonna get offended that it was done incorrectly. It's like, I'm sorry I don't know how to pronounce your name. I hope you're not upset with me. No, because I know people online will get mad over anything. Like, there was this one guy who got into a big Discord argument with somebody else over the title of his video. And they were ranting back and forth for about maybe 2 or 3 days. Good morning from Oregon. Uh, oh, never. Oh, thanks. Wow, I appreciate it, Zip. I appreciate the tip, Zip. I think my dad went to Oregon one time. I'm not remembering correctly because I remember that. Whose show was in Oregon? I think it was Tom Hartman, a guy that's on Free Speech TV. Because I remember he had some deal that if you donate a certain amount, you could go to his like fly to his studio. And that was back when I used to like him. And then after he started playing patty cake for the corporate Democrats, I was like, yeah, goodbye, sir. Good evening from Bavaria. People all over the world. Oh, I know he does, but it took me a while to realize that because he had some segments on the show that I thought were really helpful. But during that election cycle, and I even did a video on this, I played the clip where the Republican troll called him and he wanted to talk to him. But then when the Democrat called and wanted to criticize, I think it was Gillibrand or one of them, he was like, we're not doing this circular firing squad. I'm like, the guy is addressing his problem with the candidate. Are you serious? I don't know, man. I tried being cool and actually responding, but you're always super defensive. When I tried to donate, LOL. So when I joined the last stream, it's just because I saw it pop up randomly. Well, if you don't feel like being antagonized or my super defensiveness, you don't have to watch me. I invite you to go watch someone that is not super defensive. I'm not against actually being entertained when you come online. So if you feel like I'm not entertaining you or that you're being abused, you can go watch someone else. Now, I don't know what's wrong with Tom. Like if like on a lot of those segments of his show that he would put up on YouTube, I thought they were really helpful, but he just go watch TYT. Yeah, see how much they respond to you, or you got paid like $2 for them to even say something. We used to mock that on my stream where like you have like all those big channels, the only way they notice you is if you donate to them. They won't read one comment unless you give them some coins. I'm oppressed right now. I need to make a twit longer. No, every time you go to one of those channels, and it's like their fans always defend. They're like, you expect them to read everybody's comments? Like, no, I expect them to read some comments. Like, the whole point of doing a stream is so you can interact with the people that are showing up to it live. So it's like if you're just going to have a video that plays while people talk to each other, I mean, they can do that in the comment section. Stuff like that is weird to me. All kind of stuff that just is bizarre. Yeah, Oregon does have Jeff Merkley. He's one of my favorite, I guess, active politicians. He was the only Democratic senator that endorsed Bernie during the 2016 election. And I always felt like progressives never gave him enough credit for that because they always try to say that, none of the Democrats would endorse Sanders because they were scared of Hillary. He wasn't. A couple of questions about geopolitics, if anyone's interested. What do you think about ongoing NATO interest in Afghanistan, the recent development of U.S. relations with China, Russia, and Iran? That's like 4 questions in one. I mean, again, like I just want the U.S. out of Afghanistan. If NATO wants to do something with them, I don't really care. I'm tired of being fear-mongered. If the U.S. leaves Afghanistan, the Taliban are going to take over. It's like, well, you're going to say that this year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years. So I don't really pay much like that fear-mongering. That same line will be used forever. If we leave, this group will take over. But if they're just going to stay over there and cause havoc, I don't really see why that's our job to get involved and keep losing lives and spending trillions of dollars. And the U.S. only screws with China because they're scared of them. Like, they know that China's the other leading superpower, and China's smart enough to not be involved in bombing 7 countries. Yeah, they screw with one place, and then when they stop screwing with there, they go somewhere else. I mean, I think Russiagate was stupid. You know, I don't think anything bad will happen with them because they already were kind of like getting annoyed of being accused of hacking with our elections over and over. And you know, the only reason U.S. has a problem with Iran is because we're so far up the backside of Israel that, you know, Iran can sneeze and we start calling them terrorists. So it doesn't matter. No, that wasn't a question. That was or that wasn't a couple of questions. That was a quadruplet of questions. Man, Israel really likes to peddle. We're the only democracy in the Middle East. That's why the U.S. has to support them. It's like, yeah, you're the only democracy in the Middle East. The same democracy that is exercising its own apartheid state toward the Palestinians. Does that look democratic to you when they're kicking people out of their houses illegally? Which is what caused the was that 10-day that fire between Israel and and Hamas. This one guy was saying that you can't criticize Israel without being called anti-Semitic. I'm like, well, when I really think about it, the only people that really do that stuff are like actual politicians that are are purposefully pretending that the Israeli government, like, critiquing it is the same as saying you don't like Jewish people, which it's not. A government does not have a religion. Um, So it's not, you know, that's not really something normal people do. Like, if I go up to a regular person on the street and explain to them why the Israeli government sucks, they don't call me that. It's only politicians that, you know, act dumb on purpose. Banana merchant is coming to sell his goods. I'm gonna head out, dude. Hopefully one day you can answer. Yeah, I eagerly await being challenged on that topic. Yeah, Banana, I know you were really upset with me for there being no romance video this week. Yes, and Biden bombs pro-Iran militias in Syria-Iraq border. Imagine invading another country and you're like, they're terrorizing us. Like, no, you're the ones who are, like, we wouldn't even have a conflict with them if you just stayed in the US. Germany still pays reparations for World War II to Israel, and I hate it. There's such a, and I was born 50 years after the war. Why should I pay for taxes for them? Hey, what's that one saying? The sins of the fathers, so you have to pay for whatever issue your ancestors had. That's their justification of it. Oh, some on Instagram is there. Oh, somebody being stupid. They always give me weird notifications. This person hasn't posted a picture for the first time in a while. Like, I don't care. Usually when I see that, it's someone I've never even spoken to. Banana Merchant is going to hate me forever because I didn't do the video. Don't worry, it's coming. Along with 2 other ones, probably. That's why I got like 3 scripts that are all just competing with each other. Like, there's the many options video, and then there's the what was the other one? Uh, oh yeah, the never-ending accidental pregnancy one. So one of those two will be the next one. If I can just finish that damn script. Banana's gonna stop watching. He's gonna send me a blackmail DM. I know you haven't been making the types of videos I want you to make fast enough. I'll be coming forward with an exposed video on your release schedule real soon. Man, watching the people who tried to say that wasn't blackmail, like try to defend it was real funny. Like that stuff with the allegations really does prove that it doesn't matter what is said of you. If someone already doesn't like you, they will believe it anyway. Because all the people that believe that nonsense about Jimmy are already people that don't like him. So it's not really changing anyone's mind or doing damage if it's only affecting people who already have a problem with you. So I said they could say that Dor was a werewolf, and you'd have these people like, well, you know, I did see that one time where he looked into the moon and his eyes got darker. No, I left it in the dryer. It's like of all the things he could have said that are supposed to make me like, oh man, what a disgusting man. It's like that's the one. Because I still will say there's a difference between touching someone and saying something that makes a person uncomfortable. But I just don't, because like we know the TYT work environment. They make crass jokes on air. They probably say crass things behind closed doors. And the fact that she supposedly had this said to her and didn't have an issue with it year after year after year after year makes me not believe it was actual harassment. Man, everybody on here is kind of rude. Like if you're a news commentator on this website or you just talk about like current events, you will get insulted by people no matter how nice or kind you are. I did a video that had like 200,000 views where I was nice. I didn't call anybody out of their name. I just talked about how I was tired of like the same repetitive stuff with chicks. Didn't call anybody the B word, no name calling at all. And in the comment section, I got people calling me gay and you're gonna shoot up a building and all the rest of that nonsense. So, you know, everybody online is rude at some point or another. Usually unprovoked into being rude too. Yeah, that whole the entire infrastructure of the Young Turks, like everybody that works for them is crass. Like I remember this one segment that had it was during the Republican National Convention, the 2016 one, where it was Jimmy and Ben Mankiewicz. That's the guy that has those glasses, uh, arguing back and forth and cursing each other out. Like somebody took that and clipped it and put it on YouTube. You can find it if you type in their names, like TYT argument or something like that. Uh, and again, when these people argue, they curse at each other. Sometimes they yell. You could make an entire movie of just Anna yelling year after year about certain stuff. Does anybody remember that one segment where there were a group of college boys that got in trouble because they had a document talking about how attractive chicks were? And Jank didn't see a problem with having a private document among friends of what chicks you thought were attractive. And Anna was like, this is not just about. Does anybody remember that? Looking forward to Anna getting fired from TYT and having to take the 2 a.m. spot on OVC. I don't think she'll get yanked. Like I believe she's been with TYT for so long because like again, Jimmy was a commentator who appeared sometimes, but she's one of the two main co-hosts. I just think of all the employees, she has the most untouchability slash immunity. to getting yanked. Besides, Cenk, she probably won't get fired, but probably leave. Yeah, I don't see her getting fired ever. She's been with them too long, and it's too public a face of the stuff they do. I remember this one guy told me that TY2 would be way better if it was just Cenk doing, like, if it had just been Cenk and Jimmy doing videos together, like just those two hosting every panel. Because he really liked the chemistry that they had, where like one is more left than the other, and one is really civilized or whatever. Like they both get angry and stuff. Yeah, leftists freak out so hard over the littlest things and get butthurt when you suggest they are overreacting. Poor JR. Shouting at each other all day long. Again, I don't know why people act like Dora is special for doing that. Like, if you watch any of these people's shows, I can find clips of all of them yelling. Is JR the audio tech? I don't know. I thought you were talking about Jim Ross for a second, the wrestling commentator. You know, the one with the cowboy hat? No, all these people scream. That's why I just think it's funny that, they're trying to pretend that, oh, Dora's the only one that yells. The rest of us all talk nice and civilized. They all swear. They all shout. Like, all of them have the same basic sense of emotion. And there are some conservatives that do that too. Like, I remember my grandpa used to have Mark Levin on his radio. He would shout and scream, Levin just yelling and freaking out and all the rest of that. And then when he was on Fox's channel, he would yell on there too. It's just, I don't get why people act like that's such a big deal. Like, if you don't want to hear him shout, just turn the volume down. Stop being impassioned about bad things. When you hear that the U.S. is committing the worst genocide in the world in Yemen, along with Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia was butthurt that their friend government got booted by Yemen's Houthi rebels, and then decided to kill all these children and by starving to death and blowing up hospitals and grocery stores. Oh, just smile. Don't shout. Kat says Glenn Greenwald has a great video out about the toxic between Dor and TYT. He roast Anna. Is that the same one that that Cenk responded to, or is that a new one? Because I went on his channel yesterday. I didn't see a new video. Here in Europe, if anyone dare to criticize Israel, is automatically labeled as anti-Semitic. What a crap. They do the same thing over here. Except it's not, it really is very few actual people doing that. It's just like Republican officials that do that, and some Democratic officials too, because they they want to get in good with the Israeli government, so they have to turn this into an issue of religion versus actual policy substance, which is what it's about. Saudi Arabia is in a knife fight for their life. Dude, it's hilarious. And you know what? Somebody needs to do a video about the US's relationships with Saudi Arabia and Israel, because the US always says, oh, we support Israel because it's the only democracy in the Middle East. But then you support Saudi Arabia that doesn't have democracy. So it's like, you get how they like to pick and choose when to actually have morals. That's why I don't ever believe them on that whistleblower stuff, because it's like, as they're saying they want to protect there was some whistleblower that mentioned, that during the Trump impeachment saga, it's like all these same people had nothing to say when Edward Snowden got in trouble, when Chelsea Manning got in trouble. Like, you just, who can take them when Assange got in trouble, Like, if you pay attention to this stuff and follow it long enough, you see these people and their lack of just, being consistent. but they have oil and money worth more than morals. No, I'm not saying that we don't know the reason why they do it. I'm simply saying that when I see people who defend the U.S.'s relationship with Israel, which is mostly politicians, because there's a lot of Republicans that are sick of them too, like actual, Republican, not lawmakers, but just people who are part of the party. And like, there is something seriously wrong when you're going to sit here and try to grandstand about democracies and all the rest of that trash, but then you support a country with none of that. Yeah, classic double standard. Exactly, Alberto. TYT is the one who publicized and exacerbated the issue because they knew it would get views. Oh, okay. I didn't see your other comment. It is because they're trying to paint Jimmy Dore as a sexual, even though he has apologized for his comments towards Anna, the one who publicized. I was watching. What's that guy's name? I think it was like Actual Justice Work, something like that. But he forwarded the theory that Anna made the threat by herself, and then Cenk, because he's like her political dad and he has to like side with her on everything and kind of be accountable for what she does since she's the co-host of the show, went with it. And I do believe that. I don't think they all got together in a room and were like, all right, Anna, you're going to make up this allegation. Like, no, she inserted herself into this on Twitter by herself, and she probably started this theory by herself. And then, Cenk and the rest of the Young Turks network got lumped into it. He should not have apologized. Yeah, because that's my thing, right? What good? And someone actually said this was like messed up, but I'm of the belief that apologies are probably better to not be like if you're not really friends with someone already. I think apologies are better left unsaid because there's a common theme where somebody will apologize for something and then they'll never live it down. And like, somebody kills somebody, right? They should never live that down. That's a loss of life. But the worst thing Dore did to Anna was say something that if we're being generous, she felt uncomfortable about. And he says sorry to her. And then he thinks, oh, for 7 years, all right, well, this was a thing that happened. It's over. We've all moved on. And then, hey, let me bring this out. So your apology didn't really matter. No, that's my view. Don't ever apologize on here because people will still hold that over your head. Yeah, apologizing always equals you again. If it's someone that is like designed to be antagonistic to you, it usually always turns into that person holding it over your head forever. Just a sad running theme with this stuff. Let's see what else is here. Again, that's just my personal opinion. It's only because in real life, every time I've apologized to someone, it seems like overwhelmingly they're more likely to still hold that over your head. So it's like, well, what's the point? It's kind of like putting a band-aid on like broken bones. Like it's gonna like temporarily do a little bit to help, but not actually stop them from using this to hang you later. Because I presume there is a strong Zionist lobby in America. Look at AIPAC precisely. Well, again, there's some of that. There's some of the U.S. wanting to do whatever it takes to like support this country because of just the strong pro-Israel, I should say pro-Israeli government sentiment in the U.S. by these different lobbyists. So, like, you have lobbyists that literally lobby for anything, any country, any position. So they're just part of that same machine that's designed to, make you stick with one group no matter what they do. Yeah, that's a good point because the apology never really matters to them. They just want to have something to use against you later. Mm-hmm. Just like if I ever were to, let's say, let's get an example with Cenk, right? He apologized for those sexist posts that he wrote. What was it, 15, 16, 17 years ago, before he founded Just Democrats and then got yanked? And you know, they still used it against him to get rid of him. So look, that's how good his apology was. I don't know. I don't like always holding something against somebody. Like if enough time goes by and they don't do that anymore, I think it should matter. Because I don't see how it's progressive to be like, well, I'm going to allow myself to change my opinion every now and again. But you know, if somebody else changes their opinion, you know, I'm going to use my prior knowledge of their previous position to beat them over the head. Every time you apologize for something, they're like, all right, I'm gonna put this in my back pocket, and if you do something I don't like again, I'm gonna bring it back out. Also, Banana, I got your private message. I'm gonna show you how to get that woman to like you, even though she's talking to 15 or 20 other men. Don't worry, I've got the strategy. Yeah, we were having a conversation about that yesterday, me and this other guy. Do people on here never talk about that stuff, even though we have screenshots that prove how many guys some of these chicks are talking to? Because they want to believe in the mind over matter stuff, that like if you believe in yourself enough, you can like make people do certain stuff. But um they don't really like accepting that sometimes there are things that are out of your control that you can't change. Like if this woman is speaking to several other men, you know, like they don't want to admit stuff like that because it hurts the narrative of, you know, if I just believe in myself, this will happen. Don't worry, Banana. We're gonna find a surefire way to get her to like you back. No, I can't wait to do that video. The whole fight has clearly separated the progressives from liberals. TYT, Kyle K are centrists working to blindside progressive channels. I don't really know about Kyle. I don't know. With him, I'm really mixed on this stuff, and I keep trying to say that I don't like the image of me calling him a non-progressive because what's a way of saying it? Like he admits that he agrees with Dore on most of the stuff he's talking about, and I don't like the look of me as a much smaller channel telling you that this other person who's way bigger is not actually who they say they are. You know, so that's why I'm not as ready as some other people to start bashing him. Yeah, I don't. I'm not telling anybody to unsubscribe from him. I'm not doing that. It's a little shady. Like when Cenk was in his video talking about, I don't care about any hypothetical lost subscribe. Like I'm not unsubscribing. I'm gonna still be subscribed so I can laugh at you. But again, Kyle and Pacman, they say things here and there that I think you know are very intelligent. That like sometimes that's why I said I think there's a lot of novelty to listening to other commentators besides Dore because he doesn't really cover the news as much as the other ones. So they might say something about a current event that I might not have thought of. Like I'll agree it was disappointing in this, but it's just hard for me to say, oh yeah, well, goodbye forever. I'm never watching you again. He sells a lot of videos I really like. Again, I don't like doing that where I tell somebody to like not to watch another person. Like I don't like the look of it. I don't like the sentiment. You watch what you want to watch. No, it's just not a good position for me to take because it looks like I'm a smaller person trying to come out bigger by messing with somebody else. It's like I'm gonna expose Kyle. Like yesterday, I was really ramping up to do a video on those purported screenshots of him, but I decided not to. Uh, after finding out what we found out. Yeah, his response was really disappointing. But remember, if you say something about his girlfriend or his sister or his wife, he's gonna take everything. It's gonna take everything to stop him from beating you up. It's like, who does he think he's scaring? He's good. Don't get me wrong. He just doesn't get involved where he did. He just got involved where he didn't belong. Sometimes it's better to just shut. I do feel bad for Dor when it came to the whole Kyle and Crystal thing because it's like if you look at just the screen, like imagine you help somebody, right, to where they even acknowledge that you've helped them, and then after you get into some drama with somebody else, they say they're gonna have you on their show, they ghost you, and they're such a coward, the two of them, right? They can't even tell you, look, I don't want to speak to you right now because you have to confront them on the day of the scheduled interview. That is really screwed up. Like for somebody who called themselves your friend to do to you, that's messed up. That's how a friend is rewarded, getting ghosted by the same people that admitted he helped them. The only thing he is beating up is I saw this one guy in the comment section said you can't even bust a grape, and you talking about beating up somebody if they say something about your girlfriend, wife, or mother. The ghosting was the most disgusting thing. All they had to do was say, listen, I know we're scheduled to speak. It could have been a week before the interview. I don't know how long the period between the ghosting started and when he called them out was, but all they had to do was say, hey, look, I know we were scheduled for an interview on this day, but I don't want to do it because I'm worried about getting involved in a conflict between you and this other person. Um, if this blows over in like a few weeks or a month, we'll have you on. I just don't want to sink my teeth into something that is going to affect my relationships with multiple people I like, including yourself. That's all they had to do. But no, they want to be pussies. I mean, hey, you can never know. Kyle might have a couple of fist fights under his belt. Imagine if there was like a progressive wiki and it had like every progressive commentator ever right on there, and then it shows like major battles. It's like Kyle Kalinske versus this random person, and then it's like the year of the fight, and it's got like a little video, and they get in the WWE style ring and start throwing each other. It's like you talked about my wife and my girlfriend and my whatever, so we're gonna fight. Dude, I always hate it when people online try to sound strong. It's like all most of us do is sit in front of a camera and talk about something, you know? Oh, here we go with this guy again. Every fiber of his body. Yeah, what he was saying sounded like a poem. It would take every fiber of my being to not destroy the menace that had disparaged my mother or sister or girlfriends. Like, man, come on. It's really only funny to me because it's like no one is talking about any of those three people And then you're gonna bring them up and talk about you would beat somebody up if they said that. But it's like no one is saying that. No, they're really nuts. I hope that person that just commented doesn't start asking me ridiculous stuff about chicks. That's already been addressed in like 5 other streams. I'm praying that he doesn't. He reads the room and he just says hello and dashes away. Probably a lot pro or Americans don't even know about the USS Liberty incident, attack of a U.S. vessel from the Israeli military, which caused dozens of deaths. Well, remember, Iran is the state sponsor of terrorism. You know, Israel has never done anything that is terrorist-like. Because we know that Iran is not like Iran's even worse than the U.S. Right? Iran is definitely bombing 7 or more countries like we are, right? I am listening, and though like inappropriate is the exact word to describe a teacher flashing her butt before her student. It's funny too, because like they were, what are you looking crazy for?
Nothing.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
All right, relax. Like, dude, chill out. No one's impressed with your anime protagonist tough posturing. I'm just imagining him stepping out of his studio. He's like, Jimmy said something about my mother, and then you get flashbacks of Kyle's mother just taking care of him. And then he gets on a plane to what is it, LA? Some part of whatever part of California the door's in. He's like, Jimmy, I'm looking for you. I'm gonna make you pay. The Jimmy Dore takedown arc. Oh, that is insane. Somebody's supposed to really be scared of him is the funny part to me. It's like, oh man, what am I gonna do? The guy that talks trash on the computer is coming to fight me. I'm scared. I'm screaming. No, for the teacher flashing her behind thing, you actually do, like these progressives do seem to believe that you can't criticize a woman's clothing ever, which I don't agree with because like how do I explain this? You can and someone made this point on my stream on Wednesday. You can't go to a court in a bikini. Like there's certain etiquette depending on where you are for the way in which you have to wear stuff. You know, you know what I'm saying? It's just that's why I said that when you get to such a point where one gender is immune from criticism to what they have on or like what they're doing, but then the other one is like, people are still able to criticize if they want to. I think something's wrong with that. Like when you had Anna talking about how, body positivity, but then she called Alex Jones a fat F word. It's like, are you serious? And I don't even like that guy. And it's like, you sit here and talk about how bad it is to body shame someone, except people you don't like, then it's okay. Because on the Young Turks, Dore included, they made a lot of jokes about Christie's weight, the governor from New Jersey. That's why I said that's a crass program that always was like trying to be edgy and cool and just it's so hard to take them seriously when they start talking about being toxic. And it's like, you guys were the most toxic individuals in the world. Stuff you said about some of these people. Like I remember the era when they used to, before Trump ran for president, for the 2016 election. I remember they used to have Trump's face blurred. Every time I did a story about him. Who remembers that? I watched TYT for a long time. I remember all the eras. I'm just imagining like Kind of sad because of what Flo wrote. I'm just imagining Anna just like at her like teaching her students and just wearing something really really short, and just like just keep bending over, and nobody says anything because they don't want to get accused of being a harasser. Like you're in this situation you permanently cannot win. Where like because it's illegal now to criticize a woman's attire ever, they can like wear something that probably unintentionally reveals themselves. And then if you say something about it, you're shaming her attire. That should be like a video, like some kind of skit somebody makes where it's Anna teaching at her university or whatever school she teaches at. I think it's a Cal State, and then just keeps bending over, and the students keep seeing it, but they all have to keep their mouths closed because they don't get in trouble. The male students, at least, aren't sleeping in class. Like you just can't get me to feel bad for her. Like I'm supposed to believe that Dora just went up to her and was like, "Let me talk about your attire in front of your classmates for no reason, in front of your students for no reason." Kyle calling out Dora out for slut shaming was off the hook. Dora never did that. He commented on the skirt's length. That's not the same thing. But my thing is, it's like again context. If Dora did segments just randomly talking about the outfits of chicks, like yeah, that would be weird. But he's explaining the situation, from his perspective. And if he wasn't propelled to talk about this thanks to the DM that Anna sent him, wouldn't have said one word. We can infer he wouldn't have said one word about her attire. Tell you, these people want to be able to say anything about you, and they also want to control how you respond to them. They want it both ways. That's the problem TYT has. They don't address counter arguments in their entirety. They dismiss it post HOC and use faulty reason and ad hominems as an obfuscation. No, they just move to something else. Like you get criticized over the positions of your host on policy, and then your response is to say, "Oh yeah, this person harassed me years ago, and I had my mouth like glued shut, so I couldn't say anything until now, 2 years after he left the company." And then Cenk tried to make Anna sound like some hero. She was like, "Oh, she didn't want him to get fired. That's why she didn't come forward." I'm like, "Oh, that's nonsense." Because right now she's exposing, attempting to expose him to get people to not watch him anymore. So she doesn't care about anybody's living except for herself. Right? It wasn't like Dora played guess the. Oh no, that was them cat. It was guess the camel toe. It was who didn't they put up some porn on their website one time or multiple times? Pictures looking up chicks gowns or whatever. It was weird. They had a segment where Anna talked about flirting with some guy to get him to buy her some $100 pair of shoes. And they want to tell you about they don't want that toxic culture. I'm going to seduce this man into paying for some crap for me at the request of my boss. That's a professional work environment. Yeah. Yeah, he liked that stuff. Again, these are just the wrong people to play the morality police. It was really funny that, like, well, I don't even want to get into that because I don't want to turn this into a romance stream, but that has like overtones with some of this other stuff I talk about. Paying $100 for a random woman's shoes because her boss told her to flirt with you when she saw a random man or whatever. Did I miss somebody's comment? The male students at least aren't sleeping in class. I don't know what they want you to do because, like, I've seen people have instances where they had some part of their attire that, like, what's the way of saying it? Because I can't even discuss it without them trying to accuse me of something. But it's like, I've seen people before crouch down, sit somewhere, and then you can see their underwear or something else that they don't want you to see. So someone goes up and tells them, hey, this is exposed, or you got to cover it, whatever. It's like, remember, you can't criticize a woman's attire ever. I feel sad for the guy. What guy? Oh, the one from that segment. Yeah. Well, again, because I even talk about this in other stuff on my channel, but it's like there's a lot of chicks that and people that kind of like weaponize sexuality. Like, if someone is like lonely, right, and some woman starts trying to talk to them, they can be incentivized to do certain stuff to please that woman with the assumption that it's going to lead to something romantic. And I've discussed how sometimes that includes talking to some woman who doesn't actually reciprocate interest for weeks or months, and in some cases buying stuff for them, just for them to toss you aside or cast you away. And that's exactly what Anna did to that man, where you just met this person and you're going to use your attractiveness as a way to get him to buy you something at the request of your boss. And then they're not even, because it would be different if it was like just a social experiment, because a lot of times they do those and then they explain why they did it, and then they like compensate the person back. No, it's just kept the shoes. Just I'm gonna get a guy to get me some free clothes, and then that's a victory for me, the moral bringer of liberalism. What a bunch of clowns, man. We already talked about you can't criticize chicks anymore, because you see how, like, when Dor criticizes AOC, he also criticizes Roe, he also criticizes. I mean, most of the squad members are chicks, but you get the idea that he criticizes politicians across the spectrum, and it's usually Democrats. Like, he's talked about Obama in multiple videos, Biden in multiple videos, and it's only when he criticizes a woman that these people try to say that he's sexist, even though, again, if you actually watch his stuff, he criticizes males very often, even males that aren't even in politics, like Ryan Grimm and the rest of those commentators. They always like to use their gender shield. I told you I can make 100 videos talking trash about Liz Cheney. It doesn't bother these people, but if you talk about some woman on the left wing, oh, it's so sexist. That's why Manchin's getting to be the only person you can make a video on, because these people like to throw out all these little stupid accusations every time you open your mouth about somebody. Let me see what else is here. Back to the romance stuff. Any of you guys tried saying what the? How the hell are you, as a person in my comments, gonna be like, I have now decided this will turn into a conversation about chicks. Hey, don't make me make banana merch in the mod so we can get rid of you. So you can do that Thanos snap. Dude, just wait for the video. I'll just edit a video. Social distance, bruh. Megumi says, you better not criticize chicks. You're being sexist. This is hate speech. Oh, thanks, Megumi. But like I said, if you go to Dor's channel, he has dozens of videos talking trash about Biden, about Obama, all these different male politicians. And, you talk about these chicks, and then suddenly you're sexist. So I said, I'm really tired of a lot of these like other commentators. And you might say I'm crazy for like still defending Pac-Man, but he doesn't do that. Like, I've never seen him or Kyle try to say that the reason someone is criticizing a female politician is because they're a woman. So that's why they get some extra points for me. They don't like to. Again, people who've convinced themselves that those two are like the, Cedar and Vosh and the rest of them are just. I don't think they're being very honest with themselves, but whatever. You know how progressive YouTube is. We find a way to have a problem with everybody. Yeah, Megumi, the next romance video should be done this week. Pac-Man justifies Israeli ethnic cleansing and racism, which is not cool. Well, I'll have to look into that. Then there is the morality police you need to be aware of too. Yeah. Except these morality police are hypocrites because as they're telling you to respect chicks and don't objectify them, they're hosting a segment on their show from years ago about camel toe and looking up the skirts of chicks. It's like, what the? Has actually toned down quite a bit compared to his content in the past. I just get tired of like every couple of weeks. It's like him and Cedar. If they didn't keep doing segments about Door over and over again, I probably wouldn't have as big of an issue with the two of them. But it's like, I told you, if they don't like somebody, they'll believe anything that comes out about them. Like, they're the only two major content creators I've seen that aren't like the originators of this allegation that believe it. Like, so we found out that Door was harassing Anna. No, he wasn't. And again, Pac-Man, I say it just as an example that I don't see him. Like, again, he doesn't have 40 videos about Jimmy like Cedar does. I went through and counted. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, looking forward to your upcoming videos. Yeah, that one on the many options thing, I can't wait to do that one because a lot of people don't like to talk about like how many different men will talk to one broad, and then they don't realize that a lot of them cancel each other out because how the hell are you supposed to compete with 5, 10, or 15 people to appeal to one person? And a lot of those like romance commentators, especially the ones that call themselves giving advice, they never mention that because they want to push the mind over matter position that, as long as you believe in yourself, you can change anything, which is not true. Confidence is good for boosting morale, but it can't tangibly make people do things because you want them to do it. Like if I said, this year I will get 100,000 subscribers, like, yeah, I can make more videos. I can write 1,000 different scripts, but, even with my morale boosted, it can't make people watch my stuff. Wasn't Anna the one who messaged Door? It's not harassment. She's the one who started the confrontation. That's why I said if they don't like somebody, they'll just do that. Didn't Jank talk about how our shape to shovel? Now we know why. Dude, if you go on the Young Turk, you can find every crazy video and thing ever said by that. Like, they were talking about him and thinking that, was it bestiality should be okay? And I'm like, well, I didn't bring it up during my video because I didn't want to distract from like my main points, but like that, it's just a weird show, Anna and there's also, you know what? No one has mentioned this. I can find a video of, and this video got a whole bunch of downvotes. It was with that Argento lady, whatever her name is. I remember like she and some younger guy had some affair, and the guy was underage. And then Jenk was saying that if you're an underage person that is unable to consent to being with an adult in a sexual way, somehow you're not actually getting molested. That like if you're male, you always want it. You're like, if it's a chick, oh my god, horrible. But if you're a male, you know, there's no way to actually be molested. You always liked it. And the whole, like, that was one of their videos that got more downvotes than likes, because they were saying that there's basically no such thing as male victims of, molestation. Get ready for the Pandora's box about to unfold when you release that video. I don't know, man. I don't really see that many people like they usually come and screw with me during the stream, but just when you're making a regular video about the chick stuff, they don't bother me too much on those. Like the only one I've done this year where there was like someone actively trying to screw with me was Tony on the romance the new N-word video. That really is so screwed up, by the way. So if you're female and you get molested, oh my god, poor baby. If you're a male and you get touched by an older woman, oh no, it's all right. Like in the video, and it's like, the reason that's important to bring up now is because in the video that he did on Glenn Greenwald, he says during the video, and I can play the audio if I can find that part of the video, that if you're a victim, male or female, come forward immediately with it, because they'll use how long you took it to doubt your credibility. But he himself, Jank, said in another video from a few years ago, basically that male victims don't exist. So that's just, again, more of the like contradictions and like crass stuff that he would say, and then now trying to play the morality police. I wish I could live rent free, as these people seem to think. I've heard of various cases such as these, and they want others to believe there are no male victims. Mm-hmm. Well, I told you there's just this like really weird antagonism toward men for some reason. Like you look at these chicks, right? When they get accused of like harassment, the few of them that do, it's not men coming forward 5, 10, 15 years later. When she came forward, her affair with that one. If you look up the Young Turks video on that, Jank says during the video that he doesn't take it seriously when this boy is like said to have been abused by her. Again, as someone who can't give consent. Crass is a great description of Jank. Well, I don't know what else to say. Like, that's just the word I think of, because people were like really complaining about, I can't believe Dora was talking about what Anna was wearing, even though he's only talking about what she's wearing because she accused him of harassment. And if she didn't accuse me, he wouldn't be talking about what she's wearing. Oh my God, these people. Guys, I'm going out. It has been a good chat. I wish you a good continuation. Cheers. Yeah, I'll do this for about another 15 or 16 minutes. Always try to go for an hour and a half. Hey, Megumi, you're gonna have to, if you want to talk to this woman, you got to compete with 5, 10, or 15 other men. Dude, there's so many posts like that where I don't have all the screenshots, because again, some of this stuff has been deleted. But it's just funny how many times it happens. Then why couldn't men save money to buy a doll? That's what I'm doing. I'll watch the stream back since I came pretty late. It's fine, man. If you don't want to, it's cool. Yeah, I don't believe her. I already said that before. Because calling out a short skirt and talking about giving horses hand jobs are the same. Yeah, they are. And I will still assert there's a big difference between saying something and doing something. Tell that to dozens of other guys in her inbox. Man, my favorite part of the video is where the chick says, like, when she won't respond to me as often, she has too many messages to handle. And it's like, she doesn't say the exact number of men that like responded, but you can just infer from her saying she has too many messages to handle that it's like at least a dozen guys, if not more, or like a little bit less. And then you offer to stop talking. And it's like, no, don't disappear. Because see, that's important because some of them do the thing of like, oh my God, I hate that everywhere I go, men are trying to talk. But it's like, you're trying to talk to all of them still. You like the attention. If you didn't, you wouldn't respond. Because that's another part that kind of goes unaddressed, that they really, some of them really get off on having like just multiple men all trying to talk to them at once. And others will claim it's so annoying, but like I said, if they're on social media, they do it to themselves. You know, like you're not some famous chick that when she goes to the market has 10 men trying to talk to her. But if you're online and you're doing these kind of pictures, and then you have people in your private messages, you can just block them, but they don't. Everyone has two phones to keep up with the women they are texting and cheating on now these days. Megumi says, yeah, pretty much. Dude, I really did go around and just try to watch some of these people that like the really big how to get a girlfriend videos, and nobody ever talks about as like a factor for why people don't have one, all the options that they have. Like I never see it discussed. That's what makes me want to do those types of videos, because like when I started, I never saw people talking about it in the same manner. She has a reverse gender harem. And see, they like to usually not mention this stuff because they know that it's not going to sound appealing to a man that to possibly get a date, he has to compete with 10 or 15 other guys for a broad. And I even said in the video that not every woman has like loads of men trying to talk to her. But even if she only has like 2, 3, 4, 5, that's still way better than a man will see, because most of those guys probably started speaking or like approached her. And then you know, if you are speaking to multiple chicks, it's usually ones you approach. So if you didn't actively pursue all these different chicks, you wouldn't hear anything from any of them ever. Because they're good at, acting like you don't exist. The worst thing is whenever a chick cheats on her boyfriend and she cries when he notices and calls her out. Man, we have a story for you. Yeah, valid point. I remember I tried searching YT for videos like that of curiosity, didn't find any results. Yeah, because there's a good profit to be made in pretending that certain external factors. That's why people like to do the confidence thing of, oh, you need more confidence, self-improvement, more confidence, because they want you to believe that it's mind over matter, that there aren't these other factors, including these different options for these chicks that are just designed to screw you up. Didn't find any results, did you? Because they don't. Hey, they know that if they told most men, oh yeah, if you want to get a date, you just have to talk to this woman that has like, half a dozen guys trying to talk to her, that nobody would look at that and go, oh, this is interesting. This is very appealing. So that's why they keep that hush hush. It sucks too because I try to admit there's some difference there. You can have a girlfriend but keeping a relationship, and sex is nothing but pure pressure. Well, I said before that like when you make getting a date very very difficult, like having to talk to loads of chicks who will sit there and actually speak to someone they're not interested in for prolonged periods of time, which has been the case with me over and over. You can only imagine the terror of actually dating one of these people, because you have to worry about that person's trying to cheat on you. If you're like famous, or like, let's say like a big content creator, if they're trying to get an endorsement out of being with you, if they're trying to get your money, there's a lot of different stuff that you have to start worrying about if you even progress to that point. So if it's just so irritating to even get a date, imagine the Pandora's box you're opening up if you're one of these people. And you know, the sad thing is that used to be all right because it was much easier to just go from one person to the next, you know. But if it takes 10 years to get one person to go on a date, then, you know, you better hope and pray it's actually worth it. I did some coke to be confident, but then it messed it up by talking to her like she was my psychiatrist, was on with some Woody Allen type stuff. But you know what kills me about that? A lot of them, if you speak to them long enough, will sit there and tell you about their personal problems. And you know, again, I don't have a problem with that because if I'm friendly with someone, you know, I try to be, I guess, a confidant if you want to use that word. But a lot of them have a tendency to where they are allowed to be these multifaceted people who are sometimes happy, sometimes sad, but then you're not allowed to be given the same courtesy. So if you watch my video, woman tries to control me, fails miserably. I showed where there was a broad who, you know, was like saying, "You're not a very positive person," and was like criticizing me for confiding in her about how difficult it was to get employed. And then the same person who's telling me about how she's more positive than I am is literally screenshotted in the video saying that she wants to end her life. So she's allowed to have emotions, but not you. Multiple emotions, but you're supposed to just act one way all the time. How is that fair, huh? No, I just don't see a scenario if you're actually with a woman that gives a slight modicum of a damn about you and you can't tell her about things that bother you. Like, I think there's something wrong with a relationship if it's like that. Yeah, men can't show their weakness. Yeah, you have to be happy all the time. Because remember, they're trying to make men into Mary Sues. You can't have any flaws. That's why you'll have men who, in response to seeing a video where somebody talks about the behavior of chicks, they'll refer to that man as being ugly or you're not confident or you probably did this because they're doing whatever they can to make it your fault because you're always the person who has to bear the blame for the decisions of women. Even though if the situation were reversed, and let's say I, for example, rejected 10, 20, 30, 40 chicks that all said they want to go on a date with me, right? I would get blamed for why there was no relationship because I would have had multiple people who were interested and then I said no. But remember, you're blamed for rejecting someone just as you would be blamed for getting rejected if you're a man. Because it's designed for you to always, you know, that's why I did the video, the stream, the most blamed man of all time. Always got to be on that cross. You don't have to screw to love someone. We live in modern times. Our understanding of love has evolved. This idea that equals love is unironically ancient, outdated nonsense. Well, again, if that were true, then you know, you would just do it with a hooker, and then she would be in love with you, right? Like you see how stuff doesn't make any sense when they say it. A woman can tell you that she is going to go out with her friend on a date, but when a man tells his girlfriend that he's going on a date with his friend, it's nothing but a war zone. Well, yeah, chicks are allowed to have multiple male friends, but then if a man talks to any woman that's not someone he's dating, there's like a weird erotic overtone. Like I showed the screenshot where I was talking to the broad about politics, and out of nowhere she sends me this paragraph about just letting you know I'm not looking for anything romantic. I'm like, what the hell? Because again, it's not like I'm asking this person, "Oh, do you have a boyfriend? Would you ever be interested in go?" Because if I wrote something like that, it would make sense to get that type of response. But you'll literally just talk to one of them, and just by virtue, or rather by misfortune of having male genitalia, you're accused of like trying to get with them, even if the conversation is entirely platonic. Because again, chicks are allowed to talk to men with there being no one thinking they're trying to get with them. But if you talk to a woman and you're single, or even if you're with someone, in some cases, you're accused. Also, at the same time, we all need to be stormed. Yeah, everybody has to dress and act the same. Dude, I had people criticizing me for wearing a cross. They were like, "You can't get a woman because of your chain." I'm like, I have never seen a single goddamn man on this planet say, "Well, I think this woman is hot, but I'm not going to date her because I don't like her necklace." I've never seen that. It's the most nitpicky bastard stuff ever. You know what I mean? Like, again, you can't have a productive dialogue with these people because they're just spouting nonsense. Like they all say, your heart tells you to don't do it, but your brain says you'll do it anyway. I showed those comments in my I've been criticized for everything video. Dude, talking about chicks on here, like in a position that is either critical or frustrated at them, like you can be entirely calm, right? Just no curse words. You don't raise your tone of voice. You just talk about what they have done and why you don't like it. You get told you're part of groups you've never joined. You have people attacking you over every single aspect of what makes you a unique human being, because it's all designed to belittle you, to prop up the chicks as these gods among men. Nah, Strings, if you don't believe me, you can go watch that video. I have screenshots of all this stuff. Yeah, it's pretty insane. Did I miss anybody else's comment? Oh, I guess Flo gave up. He was like, I'm never writing in here again. Couldn't have said it better. This is really insane. I told you, if you're a straight guy who is like trying to get a date, like just a date, right? Not even a girlfriend, just a date with a woman, and you come online and read some of the stuff these people write, like trying to justify why this is so difficult, you will drive yourself insane from just all the nonsense that's being spouted. Like, you have people who believe in this arbitrary time in which this is going to occur for you. Like, some people will get a date in high school, but for some reason you're not allowed to complain about not having one until you're 30. And then some people will write that. And also, what I think is really funny is that most of the people who tell you to wait are hypocrites, because if you look at their own lives, they don't actually. And we went over this before, that like a lot of romance commentators, like not just people who criticize chicks, but ones that try to give advice on how to successfully be with someone, they themselves are not success stories. Like, there's one person who I'm not going to name, but he gets name dropped on like every stream I do about chicks. He tells people advice on how to like have a successful relationship, and he does these little different videos talking to chicks and booking sessions and the rest of it. It's like, this guy's been divorced twice. So like, why would you take him seriously as someone who can tell you how to be with someone, you know? Like, and then there's another guy who, and I was so close to making a video just responding to his stuff, but I decided not to because I don't like drama. He gets his first girlfriend earlier this year, right? And then about 2, 3, 4 months after being with her, he makes a video, how to get a girlfriend. You just need confidence. I'm just thinking to myself, it's like, you've only ever been with one woman ever, by your own admission, and you want us to see you as, you know, this like romance aficionado? Like, what the hell? Dude, imagine if I went bankrupt 4 times and I'm like, I'm gonna show you how to be a successful businessman. It's like, no, I went bankrupt 4 times. That's not a person you can listen to about that with any authority. Their life circumstances contradict the advice they give. Dude, the only person that could give me advice about chicks that I would listen to was my grandpa, because he was married for over 40 years. The rest of them, they're all divorced. They all have like multiple chicks that they date, and then, you know, it's over. That was the only one. Because he actually had a relationship that lasted. Everybody else trying to tell you what to do to appeal to a broad. You look at their own lives, and even if they get a girlfriend or wife or whatever, it never sticks. It's like a temporary change to the status quo. You have to be popular in order to get girls, like football or baseball, and then go to the prom. Dude, that's another one of those advice pieces that like doesn't have any realism to it. Like, if everybody has to become popular to get a date, then nobody can become popular to get a date, because the meaning of popularity means a specific special notoriety that most people can't have, otherwise the word is invalid. I'm just saying that if someone like that gives me advice, that's a person who, you know, actually stayed with someone. Everybody else giving it, like that broad that gave it that one time, that we have the three initials, Lady Lack and Logic, had two guys offer to marry her. She declined, and then apparently was not actually with a guy by the time I spoke to her. So it's like, what? How are you an expert on how this stuff works? I had an older guy I met online on another website who was like, I think 60, something like that, talking about, oh, you're very young, you should wait. It's like, you've been married 3 times, and you're gonna tell me about this perfect broad on the horizon, really? Dude, don't take any of these people seriously. Because every time they give advice, their own life contradicts it. Dude, but it's really funny. You get one girlfriend and now you're an expert on how to get abroad. Oh my God. I just think that's hilarious. And nobody in the comment section mentions that. By your own admission, you've only ever dated one person, but now you're going to give advice now to get with somebody. That's why you don't see me giving advice on stuff I don't know how to do. Like, you would never see that. Imagine if I was in the army and I got dishonorably discharged. Like, here's how you stay in the army. What? That really doesn't make sense when held up to screw. Well, Megumi, we already went over that. Though, like most of the advice these people give, if you actually apply it, it doesn't make sense. Like when they start doing the gym thing, it's like if everybody has like you're okay, you're supposed to go and get these muscles to stand out, but if everybody has muscles, how do they stand out? That's like saying you could travel the world speaking only one language. No, it's just if you are not successful in that field, why should we take your advice seriously about that field? Like hell, even a lot of chicks that give advice, right? They're not married. They've had multiple boyfriends. The relationships never work out, but they're going to tell you how to attract somebody and be with them forever. Like what? It really is scary how many people that are like giving advice. If you look at their own lives, don't actually embody the stuff they're talking about. Like if I told you, here's how you make your own cartoon. It's because I actually have a cartoon that's lasted for several years. Even if it doesn't get that many views, it's still a tangible thing I can put up and show you how to do. I can show you how to write a script because I've written multiple scripts. I can go into my Google Docs and prove that to be the case. So it's so weird that like the advice they're giving is not consistent with the experiences that they've had. Hey, Magoon, remember the person that came on there and said that like celebrities have better relationships than normal people or some kind of trash, and then we like proved all the different celebrities that had been married twice or had a whole bunch of different girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever. It's like, does that look like success to you? My favorite example is when we brought up Elizabeth Taylor and her 7 husbands. I was like, anyone who tells you that like when you become famous or having career success equals is just they're feeding you BS. Dude, we went through the wrestlers, like every major wrestler has been married like at least twice. Oh my God. I want to make a video like that, just go through like all the different fields of like big success, like the people that you think of at the top of the food chain for these different groups are like industries, and then see how many of them have only ever been with one person and lived happily ever after. I'd love to see that. Well, not so much now. Dude, every time people give advice on getting a date, it is so insane and ridiculous, and usually they contradict their own advice. Like in the same video where this guy is telling you that to get a girlfriend, you need to do shadow work and improve yourself. He literally is saying that he knows guys that were not the best version of themselves in high school, but still ended up getting a date. So it's like, no, you don't actually have to become this superstar that is the most superior version of yourself ever to get a date, because he saw it in real life. Like, you get where that's a contradiction. Like, oh yeah, you must do this to get a date. Oh, these people didn't do this, they still got a date. I only ever take advice from my parents because they do it with the intent to see you improve where they failed. Well, look, that's why I said that these people online that give advice don't give a damn about you. Like, that is something that needs to be understood. These people are literally giving advice for the purpose of creating a never-ending cycle of expectations that you can't ever meet, because they're comparing you to chicks they don't know what they look like. And no matter what happens, if you still don't end up with someone after they give their advice, they're just going to keep trashing you. Do you want other guys on your live stream and tell you how your dating life, how our dating life is? If they want to, I'm not against someone discussing that or whatever. So much contradictions. Dude, this computer stuff is the worst. Like, it just seems as if the thing people love doing is like false signs and red herrings. Like, there are so many chicks that will talk to you and like write, oh, we have a connection, I'm so interested in you, whatever. And then you're like, hey, can we go on a date? And you'll be sitting there and you're like, what the hell was even the point of talking to me if you didn't like me back? You know, like, that's weird. And, you know, like, I don't see men doing that to chicks. I don't know any guys personally who will talk to a woman that they don't want to date for weeks or months. Like, it's only chicks that do that. I don't like you back, but I'm sure going to talk to you forever. And they're going to get mad at me if I don't like the friend zone. Somebody got mad at me for saying that next time a woman asks me to just be friends, I'm blocking her. I got enough friends. I don't need one of them to be some broad that tried to add me to her inner circle after declining my proposal. You're supposed to do what this person wants, but they don't do what you want. That's fair, right? To hell with that. Now, my favorite part is when people come on here trying to like make somebody feel embarrassed about not having a girlfriend or a date. It's like, you see how many people are affected by this? They have whole groups about this, and you're gonna try to make me feel embarrassed. Good luck. So many have done that. It's ridiculous. Yeah, and it's like people don't understand why that would piss you off. Like, who enjoys having their time wasted? Nobody. But remember, this stuff is designed to be as antagonistic as possible to men. So, you know, you're expected to have this bad stuff happen to you. Like, oh well, I guess I just have to smile. Woman wasted my time and sat here for weeks and months telling me about how much she liked me, and then when I asked her on a date, she looks like she's got a breast cancer diagnosis. But I guess I just have to be happy that she spoke to me. Friend zone be a wall for her negativity and baggage. Then watch them go off with some other dude. Yeah, you're supposed to sit there and have a trillion phone calls with her, but then also be content with her being with some other man. That makes sense. Like I said, they don't have to date me, but I don't have to talk to them after they decline. You know, that's just the way it works. Because I admit it, I'm a sore loser. I feel like if somebody's going to screw over what I'm trying to do, they should be like, I should not serve any kind of role that is satisfactory for them. Not going to be part of their reverse gender harem either. Yeah. I just don't get the point of a lot of this stuff with chicks, man. It just seems like a really big waste of time. And yeah, it goes both ways. I advocate that. Well, I think that relationships are supposed to be things like at their core that you enjoy. And I don't find it enjoyable that I have to sit here and watch a broad I liked sit there and date some other man. Like, I don't see where that's benefiting to me, you know? That's why I don't visit any of their social media. That's why I don't look them up, because I don't enjoy watching someone who could have progressed with me, basically stick a middle finger in my face and go, nah, I'm good. So that's just my view on it. Its couples are on meantime doesn't mind that his girlfriend is talking to lots of men. Yeah, what I bet you if he was talking to lots of chicks, you're like, what the hell? I really don't understand it. Like, I don't know why someone needs all of these reverse gender friends. It's really weird. Like, if you don't go to school with that person or have, like, a coworker, I don't understand. It's strange to me. I've had good relationships, but yeah, I wasted 8 or 9 years of my life in bad ones. We're not even talking about relationships. We're talking about trying to get a date being harder than sneezing with your eyes open, because these chicks will give you so many like false signs to make you think that they like you, lead you on, and then when they waste your time for 30 or 60 or 90 days, you're supposed to just sit there and be like, well, I guess I have to just keep trying. And people are like actually confused as to why men would look at it and be like, yeah, this is not worth my time. Like, we have chicks wasting my time, and then men telling me to jump through a million hoops to get with one of them. I'm good. The amount of yeah, that's why I want to do the video, the romance comic book, because this stuff really does feel like a comic. Well, I don't know why it would change a week later, Razan. You know what the status quo is in comics, where there's like certain stuff that will never change no matter what happens. That's what that stuff is. You have the status quo of like getting rejected over and over again. You have the red herring of some woman talking to you for weeks or months and saying all this positive stuff about how much she likes you, and then you ask her on a date and it's like, we got you. You thought you were gonna get one. Nope. He says, oh God. Adam had women trouble in the garden. No, Eve ruined it for both of them by eating that apple. That was the first time a man got screwed over by a broad. If she had just stayed out of the garden, this would never happen. I told you, if you do a video about like not wanting to talk to chicks anymore, it's always other men that are like writing back being nasty. The weirdest thing in the world. But again, that's why I said that men don't actually matter to chicks, because if they did, if they went online and like did some 1,000 views video where they're like, I'm not going to talk to broads anymore, you would actually see chicks upset over that, but you don't, because they have all these other men that still want to talk to them. It don't matter. No, it's hilarious. What was I saying? Oh yeah, back to the romance comic book. You have recurring villains, because you have like these guys that say they don't like my stuff or what I'm saying, but then they keep coming back. Like, I purposely don't block any of them, because I want to see if they actually think I'm bad enough for them to like no longer watch, and they like almost always they come back. Yeah, Megumi, there's a lot of tropes in comics that are like the stuff with romance. You have red herring, you have recurring villains, you have story arcs where you talk to, it's like one story that goes on for multiple issues. You talk to one broad for multiple days. The plot twist, fake deaths. Like, there was a chick last year that in April, people claimed that she had committed suicide, and then like 5 or 6 months later, she was found to be posting half-naked pictures of herself on OnlyFans, and people were like, "I thought you were dead," and she said, "Yes, but this is my second life." So she scammed people out of money over some fake funeral, because they have fake deaths in comics where you think some character died and they come back. Megumi, before last year, I'd never seen that, but where someone actually convinced almost the entire internet that they were dead. And like no repercussions for it. By the way, if you saw the man turns heel on me video, in the screenshots, this guy is like, don't. He's talking to the guy that in the person he was in the chat with, because it's like about me, but not directed toward me. He's like, don't act like we are crazy people for avoiding Justin. I'm like, he's talking about some guy who I spoke to one time last year, right, and then never made any attempt to talk to after that because I unfriended him a long time ago, and he said that guy was avoiding me, and I was like, I thought he was dead because I hadn't like heard anything of him. I hadn't seen him in any servers. Like I just thought he was deceased, and I didn't get invited to the funeral. No, he was avoiding me for a year. Hey, that's a TV trope. What do you call it? There's a TV trope called the unknown rival. Like when like a hero or a villain has it's someone that's antagonistic to them that they're not aware of. That's what that was. I didn't know that he was avoiding me. I just thought he had passed away. Because we only spoke one time last year. Well, he made it sound like I was trying to message him every day. Not at all. Now, that would be a really good video, just like give examples of where like trying to get a date parallels a comic book. Because sometimes when they come on my video, they're like, hey, do you watch this person? Do you watch that person? And in comics, they do that where they have like issues where they mention, oh, this other character fought this person this time, and this person did this. Like they bring up other people having nothing to do with the story. Oh my God, this stuff is ridiculous. Yeah, she came here to say still having women trouble. Like, no, it was going to change this week. This was going to be the final week of it. We're going to see this magic transformation. Because that's what people believe on here, that like, stuff just changes because time passes. It's like, no, chicks online act the same way they did 10 years ago. Like when I was in 7th grade, again, that was 10 years ago, there were literally broads that did this stuff. Like they talk to men they don't like for the longest periods of time in the world. They get like paid for posting, nasty, risque pictures of themselves. Like a lot of this stuff is just, it stayed the same because the internet really is not that much different from how it was 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago, you had YouTube, you had, you didn't have Instagram yet, but you had like Facebook, Twitter. Like there is no difference. That's why when people say, oh, this will change, it's like, no, it's going to just keep getting worse or stay the same. Like, Hey, that'll be a good video, the romance comic book. That's what this stuff feels like. Where the status quo is like you never actually get a date, and then there's all these little stories that are made to look like you'll get one. Because that broad that asked me on a date, like I was really thinking, oh my God, this might finally change for once. And then nope, back to normal. More red herring. A tragic comedy. Well, like I said, there's no way for you to react to this stuff because if you get mad about it, they make fun of you. And then if you laugh about it, they also like say, oh, it's not really bothering them. So like there's nothing you can do. She really came in here acting like she was making some brilliant observation. Yeah, like what the? That's why she left after that, because the one guy wrote something weird and then she responded and then vanished. Like Jimmy Hoffa or Natalie Holloway. Remember what not Megumi, it was Banana Merchant said that like these people come and they write something and they act like it was so profound. Like I got him. Still having trouble with women, I see. It's like, yeah, so is every damn body on here. They probably thought you would get with someone in a short period of time because they appear to. Oh, they are, because they were on another stream I did. It's like, no, this is a multi-year saga. Dude, all the stuff with the chicks is literally the exact same. You talk to some broad, she acts nice to you, and like starts complimenting you heavily because they love to just tongue bathe you in false interest. And then you ask her on a date, she says no, and then she either says I just want to be friends, or she says you shouldn't talk to her anymore. And then you meet some other broad a few weeks or months later, and then the process repeats itself. Yeah, well, no, that's why I compared it to a comic book, because American comics never end. Like this chick stuff is never ending. No matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, no matter whose advice you take. It just goes on and on and on and on. It really sucks too, because like I said, the people that give you advice, I really wish people would like vet them and take what I said into account. Like, I'm not saying someone who has like had a lack of success can't be taken seriously. But it's just something to consider. It's kind of like if I was on here giving, I don't know, advice on how to get into the WWE and I've never wrestled, and you're like, how does this person who's never wrestled know what I should do to to become a professional wrestler? It's like, just it's weird. Have you tried dating apps? Yeah, I was on that garbage. That's how I met the biggest gold digger in U.S. history. I was on a dating website, and then she messaged me and was very nice for a whole month. One of the nice people you could ever meet. Ask you how you were doing, what's up, whatever, and then you agree to go on a date with her. And for 10 terrifying days, I was asked, "Hey, can you buy me this? Can you buy me that? Can you buy me?" And I was like, "This is, ugh." Dude, she was I'm telling you, it was a complete transformation just overnight. She went from being this really nice lady that would ask me how I was doing to just like she's a Decepticon. I heard the noise being made. Okay, I wonder if people do speed dating anymore. Well, I'm not Sonic, so I wouldn't know. It's not beneficial for guys to be on dating apps anyway. I mean, like those websites are the same like issue with like that's where most of the unlimited options for chicks come from. They have a whole bunch of guys that show interest in them. And then if you're a man, you might see like one, if you're lucky, woman say something to you. Because I know men that go on Tinder, they keep swiping right, all these different broads, never hear anything back. And then, don't get discouraged, keep trying. Just like with Reddit, where the R for R section, it was like this. If you put man looking for woman, crickets. You put woman looking for man, the army of guys swoons down from the heaven to get you. Speed dating is a waste of time for the most part as well. Dude, they have so many different concepts and ideas. Like, so I said relationships aren't even about liking anybody anymore. It's some weird strategic simulation. It's like wear this and you'll have a 2% higher chance of getting a date. Go to this gym for 10 months and you'll have a 15% higher chance of a woman saying yes to going on a date. It's like, what the? Remember when people used to actually like each other? Well, a lot of people do meet on apps, yeah. And a lot of people do have their time wasted on them too. Uh, but I would agree it's heavily in favor of the. Well, that's why I was going to do the women's many many options video because it's supposed to show that people don't like to admit the idea that one of the reasons a lot of men have trouble getting a date is because chicks have all these other men they can pick from, and it's almost impossible to stand out from loads and loads of other men, even if it's not that many. Like 5 or 10 isn't, I guess, as big as 40 or 50, but it's still multiple other options that she has that you yourself would never receive. Like I could have 100,000 subscribers and I still probably would never be speaking to 3 chicks at the same time that approached me. Okay, I'm jumping in as a single chick that is relatively attractive. I get hit on quite a bit until I stand up. Why do men not date women who are 6 feet tall? Cursed dating my entire life. Well, I don't have a height limit. I have had people on here try to like speculate what my height is. Like they try to accuse me of being short because we all know there have never been any men under 6 feet that have gotten a date. That's never happened. Even though the only person I know that was married for like 40 years was 5'9", but okay. I'm literally taller than both my dad and my grandpa. It doesn't make a difference. Like, I don't know why people take that stuff and like they just pick one thing and just blow it out of proportion. It's really crazy. Okay, but I don't have a problem with someone that is 6 feet. Like, I can't speak for most men or whatever, but I personally don't have an issue with that. Yeah, I'm not as nitpicky as some other people are apparently. Like I've had people who were trying to tell me, if you didn't wear glasses, you would see a different result. And again, I've never seen a man say, well, I like the way this woman's face and chest and backside looks, but she has spectacles. Who does that? Hold on a second. I'm getting called. Second date dude the other night asked me not to wear a heel, ghosted him. Laugh my, what is this unironic, humble bragging? Well, again, I don't have a problem with people being 6 feet. I don't sit around and cry about somebody's height or what they're like. Again, I'm not nitpicky. It's the glasses. I knew it. Yeah, that's what the way they act. Again, everybody on here is like a romance expert, and it's funny too because most of the men that criticize, actually, I take that back. Out of all the men that rile that nasty stuff about me, not a single one of those bastards has ever proven they're with someone. Never. Yeah, the fatal flaw, which is literally everything. It's his shirt. It's his jacket. It's his eyebrows. I bet if his teeth were even wider, he would get somebody. It's his nose. It's his ear. It's his hair. They really wrote that stuff on that video. That's why I don't take anybody seriously anymore. Remember, chicks they can be whatever, perfect in their own way, right? But you have all these different fatal flaws according to the internet male suspect community. Again, none of it is helpful. Look at me, I'm a straight man. Let me talk about the way this other man looks. Oh my God. But yeah, Kat, I am sorry that people like to cry about someone being 6 feet. Um, Again, I'm not a nitpicky bastard, so I don't know what it's like to go, well, I'm measuring this person so that they are not suitable to go on a date. If I think the person's attractive, I don't really care how tall they are. It's all about what's wrong with you. I agree that socks and sandals is a bad look. Okay, yeah. Even though, I mean, people in Japan like that combination of yeah, socks and sandals. It's like, you really believe that if you saw like a woman you thought was hot, you're like, well, I like her, but I don't like those socks and those sandals together. That's a bad combination. It's like I wouldn't care if she was walking around barefoot. You know what I mean? Like, it's just they overinflate the importance of stuff to like cartoonish levels, you know? I meant blokes. Well, whatever you meant, what I meant is that that's more stuff that doesn't bother me personally. This stuff just gets more goofy the more you delve into it. That's why you can't take it. Like, listen, a straight man should not be the deciding person on if you are physically attractive or not to get a date with a woman. That's an oxymoron. Like, you will never see me go on this website and tell a man that a woman is out of his league. It doesn't matter what he looks like, because I'm not sitting over there evaluating the looks of men and trying to discourage them from doing something they want to do. It's not my job. Anyways, I'm gonna get off of here because we've gone for over 2 hours, which is longer than I expected. But you know, some of this stuff is just really goofy, so it's interesting to delve into it. So thanks for showing up, Megumi. Strings of Peace, Eurodollar, Cat. So have a good day. Banana Merch and all the rest of them.